Home is where connections are made, memories are formed, and ideas are born. And no one knows home better than NFM. Thanks for tuning in to I Am Home, the podcast that goes deeper than trends and dives into what it means to make your house a home.
Well, hello, folks, to I Am Home. I'm Tyler Weiskup, recording from NFM with the laudable, audible, talkable Becca Sudbeck.
Oh, my goodness. Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Becca. And I'm also joined by Hilary Waltemath, our Visual Display General Manager.
Hey.
Hi, Hilary. And today we're continuing our home investment series by talking bathroom remodels. We've brought back two fan favorites to tell us all about it, Sara Young and Kym Nastase. Did I nail it, Kim?
It'd be perfect.
All right.
Kind
Perfect.
of. Kind of.
Kind of.
Perfect.
It's fine enough. They are from our kitchen and bath department. Welcome, ladies.
Hey, thanks for having us back.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, let me tell you before we jump into everything, let me tell you why we're even doing this podcast. And that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. We're in the business of improving lifestyles because your home life should be your best life. You can learn more at nfm.com. So Sara Young and Kym Nastase,
Works.
Close enough.
Sort of close. Are both NFM designers from our kitchen and bath department. And I don't know that we got too much into your background in our last episode. So that was going to be my first question. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences in home renovations and maybe just how you became interested in the field?
Yeah. So I've been kind of in the interior design industries my whole career. I did got my bachelor's degree in Colorado. I did work out there, moved back home and did a little bit of everything. And then kind of the past 10, 15 years really focused on kitchen and bath.
Gotcha.
That's where I like to be.
Gotcha. So classically trained, was there something in your childhood where you're like, I knew this is where I was going to go, or did you find it along the way?
I think I was pretty much like everybody else, senior year, not sure what we want to do, happened to take a random interior design class, and here I am.
Well, it's worked out. It's worked out for you, especially with the things that we saw in the last episode that you showed. And then I tried to creep on some of your profile. I couldn't find too much, but I found a couple of things that were pretty cool to see. So you're a clear pro and we're happy to have you, of course.
Thank you for having me.
Kim, what about you?
So I have been doing interior design and remodeling for the last 20 years here in Omaha. Got my bachelor's degree actually in a fine arts graphic design field, and then segued about 5 or 6 years after graduation into home remodeling, kind of flukishly with the downturn of the housing market, and worked with several people who in finishing big houses that needed to be done that banks took back, then needed work after that. And we sort of evolved into a business that I ran for about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And then actually went to work for a company doing basically what it is we do here through a corporation. Did that for several years and then came
and that's
here.
how we met.
And that's how we met. Yes. Way back then. And then when this program here at NFM came to be, it looked like a really great opportunity to do the same things that we love to do with a really fantastic corporate backing. So that's how we ended up here.
Perfect. And we're all the better for it.
Yeah, loving
Thank you
it.
for being here.
That's what we tell our boss.
So our topic this month is all about home investments. And I feel like there are a lot of homeowners who consider renovating bathrooms, but they don't explore the option because of perceived cost. And you and I were kind of talking, Kim, a little bit before we jumped on the mic about what does it mean to invest in your bathroom, especially when it's maybe out of date and not up to current standards and trends.
Absolutely. So one of the things that kind of is a basic is people expect when they're looking to purchase a home that the bathrooms are functioning properly, that, you know, you have a working toilet, working tub, those kinds of things. So the minimums of just keeping your house in basic repair are necessities. And sometimes those things break and your shower doesn't work anymore. You have a plumbing leak. those types of things do become an investment in your property and having them properly repaired. And when you're in a bathroom situation, many of those things become sort of the domino effect. The shower isn't working because the valve has broke. The valve is behind the wall. We now have to remove the tile. The tile goes into a wainscoting. The wainscoting goes into the floor. And it really is this,
Yep.
All of a sudden we're looking at what would be a full remodel without really wanting to have to do a full remodel. Everything else sort of worked. And so that's where the investment side of things is. You really have to take a step back and go, okay, this is the longevity of being able to keep my house at the value at which it currently should be.
Right.
And so then those are kind of different scenarios versus the cosmetic, boy, we bought a 1975 house. It hasn't been touched since then. It's time. And those are kind of the two different ways people look at their bathroom remodels.
Perfect. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think when we were talking before, like you were challenging the question a little bit because of the, like you said, it does make sense that people expect that stuff to work. And they, at this point in the way that the market is, like if it's not up to the standard of today
of functioning.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to be able to get that full recoup on your
absolutely
your investment. Home
you
investment
will lose money
be.
on what you should be able to get in this market.
So it makes total sense.
I have a bit of a selfish question. You mentioned that people just expect bathrooms to work when purchasing a home. Makes total sense. But is there any design or function option in the bathroom remodel that provides the most return on investment? We've got 1.5 baths, and in the larger main bath, it's got like the, what is it, inset tub shower situation.
Like
yes, we hate
plastic.
it. We hate it. The tub never gets used at all. But I've also heard that, like people with families want a bathtub with children. Like if we were to replace that tub with a shower only, are we like putting ourselves in a tricky situation?
I typically tell people that they want to have one tub in the house. So if that is your only tub, I would tell you cautiously, unless this is your forever home, I would not make that choice.
Okay.
Certainly there are ways to do a tub scenario that feel much more like a spa shower. And there are also beautiful tubs that fit into a basic alcove that are deeper, that are soaker tubs, so that you have the luxuriousness of being able to have that kind of soaker tub feel that might elevate and make you want to use your tub more.
Yes.
So kind of just looking at, really what your long-term plans are.
Okay.
I wouldn't tell you to get rid of a tub if it's the only one.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes total sense.
I'm kind of the opposite.
Okay.
So, which there are some things we do not agree on, but it's fine. I would say depending on how long you're going to be in the home is, if you don't want a tub, get rid of your tub. And then if the next person wants to come in, I mean, it all depends on, there's probably a few factors like the house and where you're at. And, but yeah, I'd say go for it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that counterbalance too, because one of the things that we talk about on the podcast is like making your home life your best life. Right. And like it, if you are going to be in there for a while, even if it isn't your forever home, being fully aware of the fact that it could cost you in the long run, that's something that you have to balance. But the amount of time that you're spending there and enjoying it, you want it to be what you want.
Yeah.
No, and I do agree with that. And I think for someone who is going to be in their house, I would say 5+ years, doing something drastic like that makes sense. Less than 5,
I would just leave it.
I would leave it and go, next house will have X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Simply because it would be a deterrent for some buyers. And what we find is that a lot of buyers are afraid to have to do things. And installing a tub isn't something that most handyman dudes can do on a weekend. I've got to hire a professional and like all of that gets kind of heavy.
Mhm.
Be without a shower for
Right.
Right.
all of all of those
Mhm.
things. So again, if you're in it for the long haul, you're in it for 7 to 10 years.
Mhm.
Really, in 15 years, you're probably going to want to refresh that space anyway.
It's a good point.
So
Yeah.
I think that there's a happy
Mhm.
medium there.
Yeah, a lot of it depends on
Absolutely.
XYZ.
Mhm.
Makes
Mhm.
sense.
So let's back up a second since we've kind of dove a little bit into the topic. I want to kind of give us the 50,000-foot view of like when you're planning a bathroom remodel, where would you advise homeowners to start?
Go ahead. Me go?
You
Okay.
go.
Okay, so first of all, you have to figure out what's working and what's not working. Why are we doing the remodel? Is it because we just want an aesthetically different space? Are we not using some of the
shower
features? Or is it function? It's not
Mhm.
functioning because literally we have an issue.
Yep.
So getting to the nuts and bolts of why we're actually doing the remodel is number one. Number two is what can we afford to do? Because again, if there's things that aren't functioning, we're going to prioritize those items. We're going to make sure that we're getting you back to a functioning space versus, oh, we just really want it to be shiny, pretty, and new. And the wife loves beige and it's gray. And so we're going, or it's blue tile and we want, no
Pink
blue.
tile.
We want pink. So those would be the two big things. That would be something that before you ever reached out to get estimates, get to the nuts and bolts of why you're doing it. And then it would be to find professionals to help. This is, for most people, not a weekend warrior kind of a situation. You need professionals who are going to be licensed to do your plumbing, your electrical, tile setting. Yeah, the weekend warrior can do it, but when you get into wet spaces, if you don't do it correctly, you can have long-term, really, really expensive problems. So finding those good experts to help along the way is huge.
Yeah. Water damage is not cheap.
It's not,
Mm-mm.
no, and it's very
also, like
hidey.
moldy and bad for your health. And there's, I feel like, a lot of things
Oh, there's
behind the walls.
There's
you don't wanna
so
know
many
about,
things
probably.
that can go terribly wrong.
Yeah.
And really quickly, and you don't know that they're
Right.
there until literally you've got
That's
the
gross.
ceiling in the basement falling out.
Yeah, and then at that point, then you have to go find somebody. You're finding somebody out of necessity that can do it quick, and
All
yeah,
of those things.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. What about inspiration? Where do you send people when they're getting into the planning phase to figure out what they want?
We do not send them anywhere. We say no Pinterest.
Okay.
We don't want you online. I think it's just in speaking to the customer, seeing what they like. If they do have like any inspiration pictures or Pinterest, usually it's all the idea is the same. So we can see what is drawing their eye. We can see what they like, and we can kind of curate all of the materials to kind of speak to them.
Yeah, and that really is where we come into play, is working within that budget and with what their ideas and wants and needs are to help them actually make it come to fruition.
Yeah.
There are a lot in bathrooms. Surprisingly, so many more parts than kitchens. And you wouldn't think so in the small space.
Right. It's little.
But it is a very, very important. The small pieces matter
Right.
big time.
Right.
And a lot of it's behind the walls. It's not the pretty shiny stuff. It's
Right.
it's the function side of things. And so just making sure that they have what they need when they get started on their project.
Yeah. I mean, I think this goes back to the idea of like talking to a professional and like
Mhm.
going through like that series of question and answers of what do you actually want from the space? How are you using it? What aren't you using today? Like that whole brain exercise. Like you can do a little bit on your own, but like having a pro to walk you through those special details is going to get you to the right answers that you need.
Right. And a lot of people are like, let's just move things around. And you're like, okay, we can, we can, but, and so some of it is just having the professional be able to
Educating.
tell you what is the best bang for your buck. Yeah, we could move your toilet across the room and put it in another space. However, it's going to cost your entire budget.
Yeah.
How about if we do this instead? Giving them some real visual options. Once we get into their space, we're drawing it up just like it would be for a kitchen, so they can see physically what their space can become if we're making major changes. so that there aren't any questions about what they're getting from their remodel before a hammer ever gets picked up.
That's perfect. Sorry about the noise in the background. Hopefully our mics are picking that up.
Light construction back there? Maybe? No.
We're next to our warehouse, so that's a design choice that we've made. But Kim, you were talking a little bit about budget.
Yes.
How do you help our homeowners who are looking at bathroom remodels to set realistic expectations when it comes to the budget?
So it really is something that pricing for labor right now is really, really high. Traditionally, we would be at that about 60 to 70% would be materials and 20 to 30% would be labor. We've actually flip-flopped on that.
Okay.
Wow.
So it is, it's significant. I would tell you that to do a basic hall bathroom with tile, new everything, nice finishes, but not crazy high-end finishes, we could be easily in the $30,000+
For a hall bath.
for a hall bath. Yeah. We get into master bathrooms and we're talking about converting showers and tubs to one giant shower, doing freestanding tubs, things like that. We could easily be on the upside of $50,000 plus.
Wow. Ooh.
So there are exceptions to those rules, and certainly in being budget conscious, we're talking about tiled spaces. There are alcove tubs that would, lower those costs. There are LVP instead of tile on floors. Lots of options. Traditionally, where we're seeing our customers coming in, they're wanting at minimum the tile. And that's kind of where we're landing. Again, it's very labor intensive, and it needs to be done right. The waterproofing needs to happen correctly. And there's just all kinds of not fun things under the pretty layer
Yeah.
that have to happen to do it right. And so labor does play a huge part in that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there something, obviously, there may be some sticker shock when you hear numbers like that. So what is how does that conversation typically go?
Yes, there's always sticker shock. And usually we try to be very upfront with what a customer can expect as far as budget.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you can be at 10 to 15% of your home's current value could be what a bathroom remodel would cost. If we're staying in the same footprint, if plumbing is staying in the same location. So there's a lot of different factors to consider, but that's how we kind of get those numbers started, at least in the customer's head. And so they can kind of prepare for the shock of the sticker.
I would say
which happens every time, no matter what we do.
It does. It really doesn't matter how we try to prep them, because they hear what they kind of want to hear. But in being kind of as brutally honest as we can be, it's a lot of work to put together a bathroom, all of those parts and pieces. And when we're providing them a number, unlike a lot of contractors outside of a corporation setting like ours, the number that we're giving them is an all-in number.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about their pricing, that all-in number is everything that we could perceive as something we were going to need to do, labor or materials, before we started to break down your walls. If we got in there and we found mold, we would be having a conversation about the fact that we need to remediate, and that wasn't included. But our job really at the end of our short time with this customer is to give them if you tell us yes, this is where you're going to be, and this is what you can expect to spend, so that we're not having to come back to them and say, oh, we missed this, or we don't have that. And that would be from a cautionary tale in preparing someone to go and get different estimates. Have a full list of all of your materials. Don't get just this is your allowance for plumbing.
Yeah.
This is your
Those never
allowance
work
for
out.
this. Because it is very hard for most people to find things that fit within that allowance.
From experience, it's almost impossible.
Right. And so if you're going to do that and you're going to go through a labor that is more of a guesstimate instead of an estimate, allow yourself 10 to 15% holdback on what your actual budget was. If you want to spend 30, you need to hold back 5 outside of what you committed to this person on the front end, so that when all of those things start to creep up, that
Start adding up.
they start adding up, you're not overextending yourself, and you can still finish your project in the manner that you wanted when you started.
Mhm.
And I think we've kind of changed the conversation with how we talked to customers in that kind of pre-estimating phase, where we're not providing an estimate. We're providing a cost to do your project.
Yes.
Like, we're not guessing. We're
Mhm.
not saying maybe this or maybe this. Like, no, these are the exact materials and the exact scope of work and the dollar amount to provide them.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
So it is a completely, we're giving them a bid that is, this is your price, a quoted price.
Yeah.
Versus,
This is what your project costs.
yeah, we say that this is what your project
Yeah.
costs,
I
which is nice
Mhm.
because then there's no guessing.
Right.
and I think people at the end of the day can appreciate that, because like you said, there's like trying to source all the materials yourself, and then to like try to get a contractor to come to your house when you can make that happen, outside of, like you said, an
Mhm.
organization like ours, and then trying to like have those things meet in the middle, and it often doesn't. It becomes a bigger thing, and you get shadier people that don't have honesty and integrity as like core to their values.
Correct. And so those are things that obviously add value to what we bring to the table at NFM. Not to say that there aren't consumers out there who are more than capable of general contracting their own projects and sourcing their own plumbers and and electricians and having a fantastic experience. But you really need to be disciplined, and you really need to be very, very organized in order for it to be a good experience for yourself and for your contractors.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you've got a family of contractors,
Mhm.
you might be able to
Get some
make
things
that happen
done,
and source
right?
the materials here and get the best prices, as we always have.
Mhm.
And then to figure it out on your own. But like a lot of customers don't have the luxury
No.
of having
Or
a
the
full
time.
suite.
Like,
Yeah.
who has time to do all of
Yeah.
that?
It's a
Yeah.
full-time job, which is why we have these jobs,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's a full-time job to do these things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
All
the
right.
number of times where random projects and you're like getting quotes on even just like having our tree trimmed or whatever. I'm like, is that a good price? I don't know.
Right.
To have
Yeah.
like an expert that
Right.
does it all day, every day, like as a career, to tell you if that's right or not.
Yeah.
That's-
And we do have a great resource for our consumers, and it's outside of NFM. It's Remodeling Magazine, and they have a cost versus value, and you can go into your region, go into your city, go into your zip code, and pull up remodeling projects of all types: tree trimming, roofing, siding. I mean,
Cement work.
it's a
Really?
myriad.
Huh.
And it will give you in your area what the average costs
Love that.
for the different levels. So a high-end remodel, and it will tell you what's included in a high-end bathroom remodel, a hall remodel, and it gives very, very accurate, literally to the zip code of what your neighbors are paying for these same things. And we are in line with them
all day long.
all day long. And so we can feel confident, being it's a national publication that does all of this independent research without any
Right.
No bias.
bias at
Yeah.
all,
Right.
and that it's something that our consumers can access at any time. We go to that a lot when people are like, "Oh, your numbers," that initial 10 to 15% of my house. Don't take my word for it. Go here, take a look, see what you see, and then you can give us a call back if you feel good about it. Then.
Yeah.
Because we want to obviously make sure that our customers are feeling good about what they're spending with us, because buyer's remorse is not fun for any of us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
I
we
mean, you
wanna
take
feel
the
really,
same approach when buying a car,
Right.
like
Yes.
that's
Yep.
pretty brilliant.
So we've spent a lot of time on the budget side of the conversation. I think there's a more fun side, which is talking about like
Yes.
the products themselves, the things that you can like fill, how you can make that space like really sing and truly reflect the kind of area that you want to spend time in. So I wonder if we can talk a little bit about some of the hottest bathroom design trends that you're seeing maybe this year.
Yes. Warm tones, as they say, are coming back. So we're more of the getting away from the cool gray and more into the taupes and the greigey colors, and kind of bringing in like warm woods. So no, like I love painted cabinets, so it kind of pains me to say it, but wood is coming back in a bathroom.
Okay.
And of course, the spa features are
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
a good plus to have.
Spa features like,
Heated floors. We can now heat your shower floor.
ooh,
Lighting.
Yep. Well, and we even have like spa smart systems for showers. So I can use my phone to tell my shower to turn on to this temperature so that it's ready when I get in.
wow.
It will hook up my phone so that it will play the music that I have scheduled
Give you
to
some
play.
mood lighting.
We can do beautiful things with under toe kick lighting so that in the
Middle of the
evening
night.
or in the middle of the night, if you need to use a restroom, you walk in and it motion sensors, just the toe kick soft light comes on so that you don't have to turn on the overhead light and wake fully up to use the restroom. So there are lots of really fun features like that. We're seeing in the higher end homes doing wet rooms instead of doing just a shower area. So we're seeing tubs and showers in one large, beautiful space with center draining and things like that are
Cool.
really fun.
Those are really cool.
Yeah. And you have to obviously be in the right space to make that make sense. But beautiful ways to be able to really have a spa experience every time you go in to use your shower.
Meanwhile, I'm going to keep trying not to trip over my tub shower as I get
Yes.
this.
Right.
A girl can dream.
Are there
Same.
any specific? Keep dreaming, Hilary. You got it. I believe in you. Are there any specific design elements or features that are like that you're seeing are becoming like must-haves for customers? I mean, we talked about like some of these like really cool things, but like, what are the things that you're seeing actual customers kind of lock in?
We're encouraging a lot. Everything we have is handheld and like a dual function shower.
Okay.
And that would be something that you could easily incorporate. That's an add-on that is a weekend warrior thing, that you have an overhead and then you have a handheld. Multiple reasons it's a great asset. It makes cleaning the space so much easier.
That's true.
As women, we don't always want to wash our hair. And so it's easy to just turn on the handheld function and use it to rinse. If you have dogs, it's great. So there are some things that you can do very inexpensively to give yourself a more elevated experience. And then, silly as it sounds, humidity sensing exhaust fans.
Yeah.
They're on all the time. When they sense the humidity, they turn on and they get it out of your room.
So
And when
convenient.
they're done, they turn off because with children, they never use it.
No.
Mm-mm.
Never.
Get the water down the walls every time.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a nice, and that's again something that's fairly easy to install, not terribly expensive, and is kind of a game changer when it comes to keeping your bathroom looking nice.
Yeah, I like that because it's so practical too. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, growing up, I never used that fan.
No.
We have that conversation every night with one of my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like
Turn on
hated
your
the
fan.
sound. Like I just,
He just refuses.
yeah.
And they're right next to each other. The switches are,
Yep.
it's not like the switches across the room.
Yep.
They're right next to each other.
Nope. I don't
No,
know.
no, no.
Refuses though.
What do you two enjoy most about helping homeowners transform their bathrooms?
I think it's always fun to give someone a new space that they can enjoy, and then they can, feel comfortable in, have it look nice and bring it up to date. And some people are willing to do some like crazier things with color and different tiles, and so it could be a really fun experience.
Yeah, to stretch your creative muscles is probably one of the more fun side, but obviously that just like seeing people like have that final like walk in, you're really getting to the thing that you were dreaming of 30, 40, $50,000 ago.
Yes.
No, it is. And the way that we do our presentations, again, very similar to what we do with the kitchens, where we're showing them what we're going to look at as after pictures in renderings. And so to be able to go to the house with the customer and have that rendering next to the finished product and be like, yep, we did it.
We nailed it.
Like, that's it. Like, and they're like, oh my gosh, yes, it is. That's it. That's what I wanted. And here it is.
Super satisfying.
So that's extremely satisfying. Yeah.
Can you share, maybe both of you, one of your favorite projects and why and what made it special that you've done?
Yes, absolutely.
We
I have
pictures.
a master bath here that we did. It was quite extensive in of course, moving a toilet across the room and big open shower, big freestanding tub. And it took a lot of work to get it where it was. It was a total like 1995 bathroom. And then these are some of the renderings.
Yeah, 1995. So is this the old
This is
bathroom that we're
new.
looking at, or is this the final?
This is the final.
final thing.
I don't have
So
the pre.
yeah, let's describe it a little bit, Becca, since you've got it in hand.
I mean, are these painted cabinets? Are
They're
these
wood,
wood? Okay, I
actually.
can't tell, but so wood cabinets, which you talked about, looks like a really nice big shower with a freestanding tub, double sinks,
yeah.
some nice fixtures. I'm assuming that's tile on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it just looks like a big, nice, open, functional space.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Tons of storage space.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, jealous the amount of
Yeah.
cabinet space.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful.
Got some great gray tones
Okay,
going
and then-
throughout this
Mhm.
the space on like gray walls, and you've got like the dark gray tile on the floors as well, and like a lot of the shiny chrome,
Yes.
which I think just really makes everything pop. Is this door sliding, or is this just like a great like
It's a
handle?
pivot
Yeah.
open. Yeah.
cool
Mhm.
cool?
A tub in front of the window. This tub filler. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's so cool. That's like a statement on its own. With a
Absolutely.
wand too.
Yeah, the customer definitely had a specific vision they wanted to
Okay.
go with. So I think it turned out
Yeah,
pretty good.
super sleek
Yeah.
and stylish. I would describe this as like a very like
Contemporary.
Very
Yeah, modern.
modern.
Yeah.
modern space for
Clean
sure.
lines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Looks awesome.
Cool
Thank you.
tones. Yeah.
I love that one. Thanks, Sarah. Kim, did you have one that you'd like to
I do.
Share.
Again, kind of a similar. It's a master bath. I've got pictures, but not separated. But we took a tub that was a built-in tub and made a freestanding, and then did a full shower. Pulled out one of those units.
Yeah.
And updated. This was a school teacher
Oh,
who was getting ready to retire, and this was her dream.
Oh,
that.
good for her.
To have this space for herself. And so when we finished, those are some of the finished pictures. You guys can kind of pass that around.
Hilary, would you
Well,
describe
actually, when we
you're
started,
good at calling out all the
interestingly, she
specials.
didn't have a style. She didn't know what she wanted.
Uh-huh.
When we went out to the house, she just kept saying, "My house is very simple. It's just kind of very simple."
Yeah.
And so when I went through her house, I said, your home is beautifully done, and it's just very, very elegant. I said, it's not simple. And so we really put together materials that would bring out the elegance, really soft beige tones.
Mhm.
We wanted to have it be a very relaxing space. Obviously, she worked very, very hard to get there. She needs to be able to relax.
Yeah.
And so just lots of very cool or very warm tones that would allow her to be able to relax in her space with just a little sparkle in the shower. We did that accent
Yeah.
in the shower
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. The mosaic tiles are really
to give her just a little zing.
Sparkle.
Yeah.
Which was a little outside her comfort zone as a school teacher. But she's like, it's my favorite part. That and the countertop, which again was a little bit bolder than
Yeah.
where her head
Yeah.
was. And I said, I think you can do it. I think you can make, and she
It looks
just
awesome.
loved it.
Yeah.
I have to call out that you did 3
I love
individual
the triple mirrors.
mirrors
Is really cool.
above the vanity, because we have like a built-in vanity and it looks great. I like how it looks, and we've just one sink in the middle,
Mhm.
but it's got that standard mirror that was
Like
just
big
like
glass
glued
stuck
up.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I cannot wait to get rid of that. But what am I gonna? I like how big it is because we can both get ready on each
Mhm.
side of the sink. But I was like, if we just have one smaller one in the middle,
That's not
like,
gonna work.
yeah. But doing
Yeah, the-
3 like
The
that,
triple mirrors is very cool. I
Thank you.
haven't really seen a lot of, but it
No.
looks really nice.
Yeah,
That's
and
really
it was
clever.
a way for us to not have to actually
Uh-huh.
address her electrical.
Oh, okay.
because she had the two over the original
Yes,
sinks
yes.
with that big mirror.
Yeah.
And, we were like, we can still do something fun and have it
Mhm.
feel very purposeful.
Yeah.
And that was how we addressed that. So,
Creative solution.
yeah.
Well, we talked about so many things on this episode. I think we learned a lot, and just like last time, super valuable information. Appreciate you both being here,
for
Sarah and
having us.
Kim.
Thanks for
And
having
Yeah.
us. So fun.
of course, and I want to thank our usuals, Becca, Hilary, and our producer, Scott. And then all of you listening, remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the I Am Home podcast wherever you listen. Then head over to nfm.com where you can shop 24/7 for today's top furnishing styles. We'll be back again soon with another episode. But till then, remember, home is what you make it.
Thanks for joining us today for I Am Home with Tyler Weisskopf, Hilary Waltemath, and Becca Sudbeck. No one knows home quite like NFM. So if you'd like more information on home design at NFM, please check out nfm.com and leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice.